Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. Not come on in. Not come. Sorry, y'all. Y'all know I'm weird. Whatever.
Hey everybody, what's up? It's your girl Bondy Blue. So let's go ahead. Let's go ahead. Hey everybody, what's up? It's your girl Bondy Blue. Okay, follow me on Instagram and let's get into the video. Right?
Hey everybody, what's up? It's your girl Bondy Blue, and I am back for another Girlfriend Season 1 recap. This is episode 14, Bad Timing. Okay, so the episode starts with William and Yvonne, and William is in his trifling dirty bedroom. Okay, I'm like, you can't pay somebody to clean at this point, sir, but whatever. She comes over, and this is after work, and she's ready to, get a little affection. Okay, get a little love, get a little dick. Okay, and William is trying to get some work done, but when she starts stripping and singing, he acquiesces. All right, they're about to go to Pound Town. Joan and Sean are having a pre-Valentine's Day dinner because Sean is about to go out of town for work. And they had a rule not to buy each other anything for Valentine's Day. But Joan gives him a collection of sonnets by Pablo Neruda. And Sean, because he had nothing for her, gives her a keychain with a tape measure on it. And I just kind of feel like, why even do stuff like that? Like, I really feel like there's always like an episode like this in every sitcom. But honestly, I feel like he should have just said, well, I didn't bring anything, but you know what? When I come back, I'm going to make sure I get you something. And you just get her something that she would actually like later on instead of giving her your tape measure and then resenting her for it later. But either way, she wants to wrap the tape measure around his neck, but instead she's, I'm going to cherish it. Yeah, see, once again, protection of ego instead of having the uncomfortable conversation. But then we would have to ask Joan, why would you gift him something when you guys agreed to not give gifts? Okay. And I understand this if you really weren't expecting anything back. There are times when I have gotten gifts for my husband that were above what we agreed to. Now, this was early on, is before we were probably married. And it was just because I could, and not because I really wanted anything in return, just because I thought whatever I got for him would make him happy. You know what I'm saying? So I understand how this might take place, but Joan makes me feel like you're always passive aggressively doing things because you want something in return. You bought him a gift or got him a gift, gave him something you already had. I think it was in an attempt to maybe show him a part of yourself because, girl, Pablo Neruda is amazing. Like, he is one of my favorite poets as well. I also have a book of poetry by Pablo Neruda. Okay, it's downstairs, it's not up here. But I found Pablo Neruda when I was in college and really, really enjoyed his poetry. So I love the reference. Okay. And honestly, if it was something that Sean would actually enjoy, then great. But it just kind of felt like you want to give him a piece of you and you're wanting something in return, and he doesn't have anything to give you in return that is equal value. It's a transactional situation and it was unnecessary. So I'm looking at Joan away, and I'm also looking at Sean away. Like, we don't always have to placate each other's emotions. Like, just say what's real instead of trying to fake the funk, right? So Sean goes out of town. And in 2 days, he's not answering any of Joan's phone calls or messages. And what annoys me about Joan is that once you called the first time and he did not answer, don't call again. You called, he never called back. Leave it at that. I understand that you would probably be going on in your mind. What is he doing? He's probably with one of them 300 women. He's probably relapsed. He's in an orgy. Like, you're thinking all of these different things, but that is when you tell yourself that you're making up stories in your head. You don't know what's actually going on. All you do know is you called and he has not called you back. He could be busy, but he can also be an inconsiderate asshole, which is what I think it is. I think that oftentimes when men are trying to show a woman that, she's not the most important thing right now, they should take that cue and return in like, meaning that, I'm sorry, it may sound petty, but whenever he called her back or whenever he showed up, I probably would have been either communicative about the way I felt, depending on how safe I felt in a relationship, or I would have played the game with you and I would have acted as if I wasn't impressed. I did not care. Like, I would have withdrew emotionally in some type of way. This is me talking about what I would have done. Okay. And it doesn't mean that's the right thing. I'm still in therapy, y'all. But essentially, I just kind of feel like it's better to withdraw than to obsess about a man and call him over and over again. And then when he doesn't answer your phone calls to the hotel room, you leave messages with the front desk. That was too much for me, too much effort. Maya says, I would be worried too. He is a recovering sex addict. Lynn says it's Valentine's Day. It's a whole bunch of razzmatazz. So basically, you're getting yourself all worked up because it's Valentine's Day and you really shouldn't. Okay. And she is actually volunteering at a suicide hotline because during this time, people start to feel left out. During holidays, if you don't have family or, if you don't have a loved one, it can feel very isolating and alone. I think they did not develop Lynn's character the way I wish they would have. I think that Lynn really should have been on her way to being a psychologist. Like that is the vibe that Lynn gave, that she's supposed to be a psychologist of some sort. And the fact that this show ended before they got her to that space and kind of just stopped her at being a singer and an artist. And to be clear, she wasn't that great of a singer. Like, I'm sorry, but no, it wasn't giving what it was supposed to give. And we'll get to that in future seasons. But I just feel like what I see from Lynn so often is someone casually giving a fuck about people, even if it's not always the right way. It's still the intention to be of service in some manner to people who don't have as much as she has or as much as her homegirls have. And I feel like it's something that's tapped on, but not really dived into when it comes to Lynn's character. I think she was an afterthought on some level. And I just don't like that they did that because there was something that was a little bit more profound about Lynn, and they didn't really explore that part of her as much as I would have liked them to, right? At least not in the way that I feel like would have given her the most validation, for everything that she's been through. But moving on. Maya says that she and Darnell are going to a motel for Valentine's Day for a night of passion. And Joan is, suggests she splurge and go to a nice hotel. Like, girl, why are you going to a motel? Like, I pay you more than that. And Maya was like, well, girl, the hotels charge extra when you get chocolate and honey all over their sheets. And I'm like, okay, so bring your own sheets. Okay. Bring your own sheets and put it over their sheets and take all of the pillows off of the bed. Like it should be easy. But you want to go and lay on motel sheets that probably have not been washed up to code, mattresses that may have been there since the 80s, 70s maybe. I don't know. I don't know. I kind of feel like we can step it up just a little bit, Maya. Like, I'm just sorry, y'all. I have yet to see a nice motel around my way. Okay. So Tony brought Greg some new clothes and she's taking him to dinner. Girl, catering to her broke ass man. I understand. I understand. Davis comes over and we meet his high-strung fiance Ava, who is helping manage the restaurant. When she finds out that one of the women is Joan, she asks if she's the same Joan who spread a rumor all over town that she was sleeping with her fiance. And Joan says, yes, I'm also the person that apologized for that and said that it was not true. Ava says that she can't blame Joan. Davis is cute, and Joan does look a lot like her. But there's only one her, right, Davis? Girl, you're doing way too much. Trying to pretend as if you're not slightly worried or uncomfortable when it's obvious that you are because we didn't need all of this from you. Girl, what's happening? Either way, she walks away and says there are some people that are waiting for Davis at the door, which is code for get away from the women. So they never got a table that day. Joan is still calling Sean's hotel like a stalker. William comes in to get a Valentine's Day card or to, get her to help him choose a Valentine's Day card for Yvonne. All he has is this one Tasmanian devil card, which shows you how immature men are when it comes to being romantic. Like, you got her a Tasmanian devil card. That's what the kids get for each other at the school. That's not what you're supposed to get for your grown ass girlfriend who you are giving the peen to in your dirty ass room. Like, give the woman a grown ass card for God's sakes. Like, is it really that hard to understand? That's weird. This is indicative of how men don't have to show the same amount of effort in their relationships with women as they do when it comes to their career. And I want y'all to understand it's because men are socialized to care about their own wants and needs first. They are taught to think about what they want and what they need before anybody else. Girls, when they grow into be women, have usually been socialized in the opposite manner, to be thinking about and servicing or always ahead of whatever their significant other wants or needs. Okay. So you're having a situation where the men give lackadaisical effort, and you have women that are giving over effort. And they feel like when the men aren't responding to them in like, they should work harder at this. Instead, you should really withdraw, and that makes the man work harder. But again, the socialization for us is to obsess or do more when we feel as if we're not being received well or validated in our emotions, right? Davis comes into Joan's office to bring her some food since she did not get a table because of Ava. He complains about Ava, and Joan complains about Sean, and this ends up with them both kissing, really, with Davis kissing her. He says he'll break up with Ava if she goes out with him. We know that Davis has had a crush on Joan this entire time. And I really don't understand why they never, attempted to give it a shot. I feel like Davis would have been a better partner to Joan than Sean was. But girl, I guess that's a question we would have to ask Mara, Brock, or Kill. But I guess it's a more realistic depiction of women. We often, kind of ignore the men that may be a better fit for us, for the ones that make us chase them. And I feel like Sean makes Joan chase him. And so that's the person that she is more interested in. But now Joan is at an impasse, and she doesn't know who exactly she should pick. She doesn't know which man is the best at the moment, especially since Sean hasn't been answering her phone calls for the past 2 days. Tony says that she should choose Sean because Sean is an architect on the up and coming, meaning he has more of a possibility of making more money. Whereas Davis, Maya's suggestion is a rat away from being out of business. Okay, that's what Tony said. Davis shows back up to Jones and asks her to take a Valentine's Day trip with him, like a little quick getaway. And Joan didn't want to at first. And, David says they should find out what's happening with them because they aren't being fair to Ava and Sean not knowing. I also feel like you're not being fair to Ava by not telling her. Like, be honest and let her know that you're questioning the relationship, that you want to explore something else. But see, you're so scared that you will lose her that you would rather keep her on a string while you figure out your situation with Joan, which is messed up, but understandable at the same time. Everybody's scared of being alone, or when you have these moments of questioning a connection or a relationship, losing one that might actually work out better for you just because you have a moment of not knowing exactly what to do, a moment of confusion. And these people are dating. So I feel like they're entitled to have these moments, which is why we shouldn't be rushing into monogamous relationships when we are dating people, because I think it applies way too much pressure to relationships that shouldn't be taken that seriously. You know what I'm saying? Like, until somebody is talking about engagement or marriage, these relationships really should be at your leisure and as they make you feel good. And if they don't make you feel good, it's time to reassess whether those connections are worth even keeping. Because sometimes you're just there for the moment, for the experience. And then you're moving on. It's not always somebody that is supposed to be in your life forever. So while Joan is trying to figure out if she's going to take Davis up on his trip, Sean shows up with flowers. And Joan is like, oh my God, what are you doing here? And he flew back to surprise her. She sends Davis away and kind of says, I'll talk to you later. I'll come meet with you later. And she and Sean discuss how he didn't answer any of her calls for the past 2 days, causing her to think God knows what. He says if he had answered her calls, he wouldn't have been able to draw the plans to add a bathroom to her house, which she think is so sweet and so nice. And this was like the return gift for the Pablo Neruda book that she gave him. He asked what happened with Davis, and she says nothing happened. Nothing happened, like lying through her teeth. Then he recites Pablo Neruda to her, letting her know that he has read the book that she gave. And that really kind of sold it up for her. And she chose Sean because Sean is the person that she really wants to be in the relationship anyway. I really am bothered by the way Sean handled this situation. Again, with the push and pull, again, with the not clearly communicating, again, with the breadcrumbing. A simple call back at any moment could have solidified Joan feeling validated and Joan feeling safe in the relationship. Whenever you go out of town in a new relationship, it's kind of a tester to see if the woman is going to freak out and see if the man can be trusted. So if a woman calls you one time, it's okay to call her back and just let her know what's going on with you instead of feeling like, no, I'm going to keep ignoring her. And if she responds like a crazy person, then I know she's a crazy person. Because at the end of the day, a man acts as if he wouldn't feel the same way if a woman were to completely just ghost him. It doesn't feel good either way. So why not put yourself in that person's shoes and care about them enough to answer the phone and let them know that they mean something to you, even if it's just for a moment. You don't have to give the person all of your energy, but a 5-minute conversation really could have remedied this situation. So I look at it like, Sean, you intentionally did that to her. You left her hanging, and then in order to keep her, you went and did all of these so-called sweet things like learning the Pablo Neruda poem and coming up with plans for her bathroom. When at the end of the day, Joan should have answered her door with the aggravation that she felt. Because why would you not answer her for 2 days? And then you show up to her house as if your ignoring her should not have mattered at all. And that's a problem for me. There's no accountability for the way he chooses to treat her, which is kind of reckless. Like you act as if you don't give a shit about Joan's feelings, and then when Joan responds like a normal human being and takes the hint and kind of moves on to the next fella, you want to get upset and act as if somebody has betrayed you or they were disloyal, but you were trying to test her, and that was unfair when you clearly could have just answered the phone. But either way, this made Joan feel bad. This makes Joan choose Sean instead of looking at the situation as manipulative as it was. So because Greg doesn't have any money, he decided to paint a mural on Tony's ceiling of the two of them in flagrante delicto, if you know what I mean, doing something nasty. Okay. He says that he knows that she wanted to go to the Sistine Chapel, and because they can't afford to go there, he decided to give her her own Sistine Chapel for Valentine's Day. Later at dinner, he attempts to pay for dinner but can't afford to, so just hands the bill right back over to Tony. Yeah, it's kind of annoying to me. We appreciate the painting though. We really, really do. And I feel like these attempts to emotionally manipulate women, and I say manipulate because I feel like you just don't want to do the hard work of financially providing. It's not that you can't, you don't want to, because it's going to require more than you're willing to give. So you'll give what you want to give and you'll try to be thoughtful about it, but essentially you're still not giving her what she wants and what she needs from you. You're going to come up with something that is a gift that you would like to give to her. And even though it is sweet, and I would have accepted it just like she did, after I got off that dick. Thank you so much. It's so beautiful. Oh my God. But at the end of the day, when they break up, she gonna have to paint over that shit on her ceiling, because who the fuck wants to be looking at Greg on her ceiling while she laying up with another man? And we know that there are several, at least a couple after Greg. Okay. So even though you would think that it's such a great gift and it's something that is thoughtful, it's still a selfish way to gift someone. Um, because there are other ways. Like you could have just gave her a painting of herself. You know what I'm saying? But you decided to put a mural of the two of y'all on her damn ceiling. Like you ain't going nowhere. This your house too. It's probably just me, girl. But I often look at these situations because eventually these same patterns of behavior play themselves out, where it's really all about the dude and he's just emotionally manipulating the woman for the moment so that she'll continue to do what she's been doing, which is give of herself freely under the guise of love. But a real gift would have been, I sold a painting to some corny ass restaurant, got enough money, and now I can pay for dinner tonight. That would have been a gift too. See what I'm saying? Lynn hooks up with a guy she had to keep from jumping off of a roof at the suicide call center. Yeah. Yeah. See, this is what I meant when I said that Lynn will have a good heart, good intentions, but still, and up doing it wrong because, girl, this is what you're not supposed to do. The man gets up to go to the restroom, and she has to ask for his belt and shoelaces. Like, girl, the fact that you would pick a man up from a suicide hotline that was about to commit suicide, it makes me question, how do you feel about yourself? Like, why are you taking on going out on Valentine's Day with this man who is sitting there thinking about unaliving himself? Like, it's just always women taking on these chores that they don't have to take on. Like, you can go and find some happy jerk to have sex with on Valentine's Day instead of this. Like, girl, what's happening? Anyway, Darnell hunches Maya on Joan's desk because they didn't get a chance to go to the motel. And Joan knows something is wrong the next day. She's like moving stuff around her desk. And then Maya, what's that? Is that chocolate? Maya's like, it sure is. Damn those cleaning people. I'm gonna have a talking with them. Child, hilarious. That's nasty. You could have at least wiped that lady's desk off with some wipes. It's really nasty, Maya. So yes, Yvonne gives William a thong with hearts on it for Valentine's Day, and he gives her a charm bracelet with a gun and handcuffs and a donut, and very, very sweet, very thoughtful, right? Yvonne loves being a police officer. This is a moment where you're expecting William to continue on this pattern of appreciating Yvonne for exactly who she is. She says that she loves it, and he accidentally tells her that he loves her. And she runs to go and call her mama, but then she runs back, kisses him, and tells him she loves him too. And then when she walks out of the room, he looks as if he's worried. And it's like, what are you worried about? They're always scared that locking a woman in emotionally is going to keep them from being able to move on to what the woman that they really want. Like, I'm confused about it. Were you trying to settle for Yvonne? Is that what that was about? It's given you might have been trying to settle for Yvonne and also turn her into the woman that you wanted her to be versus accepting her for who she is. Yeah. And y'all, of course, I'm going off of what happens later on, but all of these things connect in the story, right? So that was episode 14. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to my channel, and come back for the next one.